A kilo bag of porridge oats costs 90 pence at Aldi. That's 14 breakfasts, 2 people, 7 full days, and you'll still have change from a fiver. Sounds impossible? It isn't. Number 9 on this list feeds a couple all week for less than a single Greggs sausage roll. And number 2 is so lazy you'll batch an entire week of breakfasts, one quiet Sunday morning, and never touch the hob again. These 25 tricks are how Britain actually fed itself before meal deal culture quietly emptied our wallets. Hit that subscribe button and let's count them down. Number 25. The frozen loaf. Here's the maths nobody does. A value white loaf costs around 39 pence, but half of it goes stale and hits the bin by Thursday. So your gran, or anyone who lived through a proper winter, did the obvious thing. She kept the whole loaf in the freezer and pulled slices out one at a time. Bread freezes perfectly. The toaster does the rest, no defrosting. Straight from frozen to golden in 90 seconds. That single habit turns a 39 pence loaf into 14 slices of toast that never once go to waste. 2 people, a week of breakfasts, and not a moldy crust in sight. It sounds too simple to matter, but wasted bread is the quiet leak in every kitchen budget. Plug it, and you've already clawed back most of your fiver before you've even boiled the kettle. Number 24. Overnight oats in a jam jar. This is the laziest breakfast ever invented, and it costs about 14 pence a serving. Before bed, you tip a handful of porridge oats into an old jam jar, pour milk or water over until they're just covered, screw the lid on, and shove it in the fridge. That's the entire job. By morning, the oats have drunk the liquid and softened into something creamy and cold. No cooking, no pan, no washing up beyond a spoon. Stir in a spoon of jam or a mashed banana if you're feeling fancy. The beauty is you can make 2 jars at once, one for each of you, and they'll keep 3 days in the fridge. Students rediscovered this and called it a health trend. Your nan called it Tuesday. Number 23. The kilo bag of own brand oats. Let's be honest about where the real savings hide. A branded pot of instant porridge with the little sachets costs about 40 pence for one measly serving. A 1 kilo bag of plain own brand oats costs 90 pence and gives you roughly 20 servings. That's the difference between 40 pence a bowl and about 4 pence a bowl. 10 times cheaper for the exact same oat. Your grandmother never bought a sachet in her life because sachets didn't exist, and she'd be baffled that we pay a premium for a packet that does nothing but hold slightly less oat. The plain bag is the backbone of this entire list. Buy it once, and you've got the foundation for porridge, overnight oats, flapjacks, and a dozen breakfasts, all from a bag that costs less than a coffee. Number 22. Batch boiled eggs on a Sunday. 6 eggs, 1 pan of water, 12 minutes, and you've sorted protein for half the week. Your mum would boil a batch on Sunday evening while she was already at the hob, let them cool, and leave them in the fridge in their shells. A hard-boiled egg keeps a week that way. Come Monday morning, breakfast is peel and eat. No frying, no timing, no standing over a spitting pan while the kettle's going. Eggs at the cheaper end run about 18 pence each, so 2 eggs a person is a hearty breakfast for under 40 pence total. The lazy genius is doing the work once for the whole week rather than every single groggy morning. Nobody thinks clearly at 7 a.m. Sunday. You has already done the thinking for Monday you. Number 21. Porridge made with water, not milk. Here's a small heresy that saves real money. You do not need milk to make porridge. Water works completely, and the oats still go soft and comforting, exactly the same. Milk costs, water doesn't, and over a week of daily porridge for 2, cooking with water instead of milk quietly saves the better part of £1. The trick your gran knew was to add a pinch of salt to water porridge, because salt lifts the flavour and stops it tasting flat. If you want a touch of creaminess without the cost, stir a spoonful of milk in right at the end, rather than cooking the whole lot in it. You get the richness where your tongue notices it, on the surface, for a fraction of the milk. Small trick, week-long saving. Number 20. First pattern break. Here's where the lazy really pays off. The microwave mug porridge. Forget the pan entirely. Tip 40 grams of oats into a big mug, Add water or milk until it's about 2/3 full and microwave for 2 minutes, pausing halfway to stir so it doesn't erupt over the sides. That's a full bowl of hot porridge with 1 mug to wash and no crusty pan soaking in the sink. The mug matters, use a large one because porridge climbs as it cooks and a small mug means a microwave to scrub. Cost is the same 4 pence of oats, but the effort drops to almost nothing. This is the trick for the morning you've hit snooze twice and have 4 minutes before you leave. Hot, filling, cheap, and done before the kettle would even have boiled. Number 19. Beans on toast, done properly. A tin of value-baked beans costs about 27 pence and feeds 2 people over toast with room to spare. This is the meal that fed generations of British workers out the door, and it's still one of the best value hot breakfasts going. The lazy upgrade costs nothing extra. Warm the beans in the microwave in a bowl rather than dirtying a pan and toast the bread while they heat. 3 minutes, 1 bowl, 2 plates. For a bit of luxury, a scrape of the cheap grated cheese melted into the hot beans turns it into something that tastes far dearer than it is. 2 slices of toast and half a tin of beans each comes in around 30 pence for the pair. It's warm, it's got fibre, and it silences hunger till lunch. Nobody's ever left the table hungry after beans on toast. Number 18. Banana on toast instead of jam. When the jam runs out and the bananas are going spotty, your gran didn't bin either. She mashed a soft banana onto hot buttered toast and let the warmth melt it into something almost like a pudding. Overripe bananas are the cheapest fruit in the shop, often reduced to pennies on the wonky shelf precisely because they've turned freckled, which is exactly when they're sweetest. A reduced bunch might cost 20 pence and give you breakfast 3 mornings running. The heat of the toast brings out a caramel sweetness you don't get from a cold banana. No spread to buy, no jam jar to run out, just fruit that would otherwise have been thrown away turned into a warm, sweet start to the day. Thrift and pudding in the same bite. Number 17. Weetabix, but buy the own brand bricks. 2 wheat biscuits in a bowl with milk is the classic 5-minute British breakfast, and the own brand version is where the sense lies. The branded box costs nearly double the supermarket's own wheat biscuits, which are, to anyone's tongue, identical, the same beige brick that goes soft in milk. A big box of own brand runs about 65 pence for a couple of dozen biscuits, so 2 biscuits each is pennies. The lazy trick your nan used when milk was short was to pour the milk on, count to 10, and eat them before they turned to mush, because a soggy Weetabix is a sad thing. If you like them soft, add hot milk and they collapse into a warm porridge-like bowl in seconds. Either way, it's fast, filling, and forgettably cheap. Number 16. Powdered milk for the store cupboard. This one sounds like wartime because it is, but it still works. A tub of dried milk powder sits in the cupboard for months and never spoils, which means you never run out of milk for your porridge or your Weetabix on the morning the fresh carton's turned. Mixed with water, it does everything fresh milk does in a cooked breakfast, and it works out cheaper per pint than fresh once you account for what you'd otherwise pour down the sink. Your gran kept a tub behind the tea caddy for exactly this, the morning emergency when the milkman hadn't been. The taste is fine in porridge where it's cooked and sweetened. It's the safety net that means a missing milk carton never once turns into a skipped breakfast or a dash to the shop. Number 15. Second pattern break. The controversial one. Toast and dripping, or its modern cousin, toast and margarine. Before spreads came in 100 fancy tubs, breakfast was often nothing more than hot toast with a scrape of dripping saved from the Sunday roast or a smear of cheap marge and a pinch of salt. It cost almost nothing and it kept a working man going till dinner. Here's the thing the food companies would rather you forgot. That scrape of fat on hot bread is genuinely satisfying, and a tub of value margarine costs about 45 pence and lasts weeks. We've been sold the idea that breakfast needs to be elaborate, when for most of British history it was bread and something fatty, and that was that. Lazy, filling, and about 5 pence a slice. Sometimes the oldest, plainest trick is the one your budget's been begging for. Number 14. Grill a tray of cheese on toast for 2. When you fancy something hot and savory, Don't fry, grill. Lay 4 slices of bread on the grill pan, grate the cheap block cheese over them, and slide the whole lot under the grill at once. 4 minutes later, 2 people have bubbling golden cheese on toast, and there's 1 grill pan to wipe, not 2 frying pans to scrub. The trick your mum knew was to toast the underside of the bread first, flip it, then add the cheese to the toasted side, so the bottom's crisp instead of soggy. A block of value cheese is about £2 and lasts the week across several breakfasts. Doing both people's portions on 1 pan in one go is the lazy heart of it. Minimum effort, maximum melt, and washing up you can do with a single cloth. Number 13. Fried bread from the fat you already have. Nothing was ever wasted, least of all fat. When your gran fried anything, the fat left in the pan wasn't tipped away, it fried the bread. A slice of bread pressed into the hot pan drinks up that fat and crisps into something golden and rich that tastes like a proper cooked breakfast for the cost of 1 slice of bread. It's the ultimate use what you've got trick, no extra ingredient, just the fat that would otherwise have gone down the sink and blocked the drain anyway. Modern kitchens pour that flavor away and then wonder why breakfast feels thin. A slice of fried bread alongside a boiled egg is a hearty start for well under 20 pence. The pan practically cleans itself afterwards because the bread's mopped up what was in it. Number 12. Batch pancake batter that keeps. Pancakes feel like a treat, which is why people save them for Shrove Tuesday, but the batter is just flour, an egg and milk, and it costs pennies. The lazy trick is to make a big jug of it on Sunday and keep it covered in the fridge for up to 3 days. Then a weekday breakfast is a 2-minute pour into a hot pan. No measuring, no whisking, no mess before you've even woken up. Flour is about 55 pence a bag and makes batter for a fortnight of pancakes. Served with a scrape of jam or a squeeze of lemon and a shake of sugar, it's a breakfast that feels far more generous than its cost. The jug in the fridge is the whole point. All the faff done once. So the mornings are effortless. Treat food, budget price. Number 11. Frozen berries, not fresh. Fresh berries are a con for the budget breakfast. A punnet costs a small fortune and turns to mush at the back of the fridge within days. A bag of frozen berries costs a fraction, keeps for months, and you only take out the handful you need. Stir a few frozen berries into hot porridge and they thaw instantly, bleeding purple ribbons through the oats and turning a plain bowl into something that looks like it came from a cafe. Your gran preserved fruit for exactly this reason, so a taste of summer survived the winter. Frozen does the same job for none of the effort. A bag might be £1.50 and last a fortnight of breakfasts, working out at a few pence a bowl. Cheaper than fresh, 0 waste, and it makes the laziest porridge look like you tried. Number 10. Marmite, the tiny jar that lasts forever. Love it or hate it, a jar of Marmite is one of the best value spreads in the cupboard because you use so little of it. A scrape across hot buttered toast is all it takes, so a single jar lasts months and works out at pennies per slice. Your nan kept it for the mornings when there was nothing else in, because a little salty tang on toast turns plain bread into an actual breakfast. It needs no refrigeration, never goes off, and the jar seems to last until the memory of buying it has faded. That's the definition of value. For a couple, a jar might see you through 2 or 3 months of the odd Marmite morning, which makes the per breakfast cost almost invisible. The trick is the thin scrape, pile it on, and you'll regret it. And the jar too. Number 9. Third pattern break, the one that feeds 2 for a week for pennies. Big batch porridge, portioned and reheated. Here's the trick that makes the whole title of this video true. On Sunday, cook 1 enormous pot of porridge, enough for the full week, using nothing but that 90 pence bag of oats and water. Then divide it into tubs, 1 per breakfast, and keep them in the fridge. Each morning you tip a portion into a bowl, add a splash of milk to loosen it, and microwave for a minute. 14 breakfasts from a bag that cost less than £1. That's the couple, fed hot porridge every morning of the week, for under £1 total, leaving £4 of your fiver for the toppings. Batch cooking is the single laziest, cheapest habit there is. Do the work once, and the week looks after itself. Your gran called it common sense. Number 8. Crumpets, bought and frozen in bulk. A pack of 6 crumpets costs around 45 pence, and here's what most people miss: they freeze beautifully and toast straight from frozen. So when they're on offer, buy a few packs and freeze them, and you've got a warm, spongy breakfast for weeks that costs about 8 pence each. Under the toaster or grill, they crisp on the outside and stay soft inside, ready for a scrape of margarine that melts down into all those little holes. Your mum bought them by the armful when they were reduced, knowing the freezer would keep them fresh indefinitely. 2 crumpets each is a proper breakfast for under 20 pence a head. The holes are the point. They hold the melted fat like a sponge, so every bite is rich, cheap, cheerful, and the freezer does the storing for you. Number 7. The scrambled egg stretch. 2 eggs won't feel like much between 2 people, but here's the old trick to make them go further. Beat the eggs with a good splash of milk and a knob of the cheap marge before they hit the pan. The milk and fat bulk the eggs out, so 2 eggs scramble up to fill 2 plates rather than 1, soft and creamy instead of dry and mean. Your gran stretched everything this way during the lean years, and scrambled eggs took to it best of all. Cook them low and slow, taking the pan off the heat while they're still a touch wet, because they keep cooking on the plate. 2 eggs, a splash of milk, on toast, feeds 2 for around 45 pence. The stretch is the whole art, making a little look and feel like plenty, which is what thrifty cooking always was. Number 6. Homemade breakfast muffins in one batch. A tray of a dozen simple muffins, made from flour, a bit of sugar, an egg, some oil and milk, costs about 60 pence for the whole batch and gives you breakfast on the go for the best part of a week. The lazy magic is you bake once and eat all week, grabbing one on your way out the door with no morning effort at all. They keep in a tin for days and freeze for longer. Chuck in a handful of those frozen berries or a mashed banana that was going over, and you've used up the sad fruit at the same time. 5 pence a muffin, roughly, for a warm, filling breakfast you didn't have to think about on the day. This is the trick for people who claim they've no time for breakfast. Sunday, you made 12 of them. No excuses. Number 5. Fourth pattern break. Bubble and squeak for breakfast. This is where thrift becomes an art. Whatever spuds and cabbage or greens are left from last night's dinner don't go in the bin. They go in a hot pan the next morning, mashed together and fried until the edges crisp and brown. The name comes from the sound it makes hissing in the pan. It costs you nothing because it's food you already paid for and would otherwise have thrown away. Your gran never once scraped a plate into the bin if there was a breakfast in it. A crisp, savoury fry-up of yesterday's leftovers, maybe with a fried egg on top, is a breakfast that feels indulgent, but was, in truth, completely free. This is the deepest lesson on the whole list. The cheapest breakfast is the one made from what you'd have wasted. Nothing in, everything out. Number 4. Jam on toast and make the jam last. A jar of value jam costs about 30 pence and, used with a sensible hand, lasts a fortnight of breakfasts. Jam on toast is the breakfast that raised half the country, and it's still about the cheapest sweet start you can make. The trick your nan used was to spread it thin and even to the edges, so every bite had a bit of jam rather than a great dollop in the middle and dry crust at the corners. A thin, edge-to-edge scrape makes a 30 pence jar stretch far further than a greedy pile ever would. 2 slices each is a filling breakfast for around 10 pence a head. It needs no cooking beyond the toaster and no thought at all. When the cupboard's bare and paydays are way off, jam on toast has never once let a British household down. Number 3. The porridge topping bar from one shopping trip. Here's how you make a week of porridge feel like 7 different breakfasts without spending 7 different times. On your one weekly shop, buy a small stash of cheap toppings, a bag of frozen berries, a jar of jam, a couple of bananas, a bag of sultanas, maybe a squeezy honey. None of it costs much, and it all lasts. Then each morning's porridge gets a different hat. Berries on Monday, jam on Tuesday, banana and a shake of sugar on Wednesday. Same 4 pence base, a new breakfast every day, and the boredom that usually kills a budget routine never sets in. Your gran did this without naming it, reaching for whatever was in the pantry to ring the changes. The base is dirt cheap. The variety is what keeps you actually eating it all week instead of caving and buying a meal deal. Number 2. The Sunday batch and freeze, the laziest week of your life. This is the trick that ties the whole list together. Pick one quiet Sunday morning and cook the week ahead in one go. A pot of porridge portioned into tubs, a tray of muffins for the tin, 6 eggs boiled and cooled, a jug of pancake batter in the fridge. 2 hours of gentle pottering with a cup of tea, and you have not one but a whole variety of breakfasts sorted for 2 people for 7 days, and you needn't touch the hob again until next Sunday. The genius is front-loading the effort onto one relaxed morning instead of 14 rushed ones. No weekday panic, no skipped breakfasts, no meal deal temptation on the walk to work. Your grandmother ran her whole kitchen this way, doing the hard graft once, so the week ran itself. Lazy mornings are earned on Sunday. And finally, number 1. Porridge oats, the single cheapest, most versatile breakfast in Britain. It had to be this. Everything on this list orbits that one humble bag of oats, because nothing else comes close for value or flexibility. Hot porridge in winter, cold overnight oats in summer, baked into flapjacks and muffins, stretched with water, dressed with whatever fruit's going cheap. At around 4 pence a serving, a couple can eat breakfast every single morning of the week for well under £1 and still have most of their fiver spare for the toppings that keep it interesting. Oats kept this country fed through rationing, through hard winters, through lean years without number, and they'll do the same for your budget now. They ask almost nothing of you and give back a warm, filling start to every day. The oldest trick on the list, and still, quietly, the best. So there you have it. 25 lazy breakfast tricks that feed 2 people for a week for under a fiver. And most of them your gran could have told you if we'd only thought to ask. My challenge to you is simple. Try just one this week. Batch a pot of porridge on Sunday, or freeze that loaf, or start an overnight oats jar tonight. Then come back and tell me in the comments which one saved you the most. Because these aren't just money-saving hacks. They're the quiet wisdom of a Britain that fed itself well on almost nothing. Your nan knew. Now you know too.